Hello everyone. So I wanted to make just a quick video to kind of give you a rundown of this sort of mini lab that is part of the reflection questions. And just to kind of show you how to get things set up and what things should look like eventually, and the website that you're using because it's a little bit funky. So hopefully at this point you've already watched the recorded lecture that is above this one on iLearn. Otherwise you might be a scotch bit confused. Okay, so here is the document that you should see. Remember, to complete this, all you have to do is go up to File and either make a copy to your own Google Drive or download a document to your device. So what you're going to be playing around with is this sort of mini lab here. So there is a table down here that shows a bunch of different latitudes, longitudes, and elevations of 9 different cities around the world. And this table also includes the elevation. So pay attention to that as well, right? Because some of these places are much higher than others, right? So even though they are kind of close-ish to each other in terms of latitude, they do have very different elevations. So that might indeed have something there. And then there's this other part of the table where you get to choose a location. So you'll tell me what the place is, the latitude, longitude, and elevation, and this information is actually on the website that you'll be using to access the temperature data for these locations as well. So the first thing that I want you to do is there is a PDF, or excuse me, a PowerPoint slide on iLearn that looks like this. So you can see we have our various latitudes and longitudes lined up here. And what I want you to do for each location that's on the table, I want you to mark a spot for them on this map. So you'll see that I have the El Salvador location right here, right? So it's at 14 degrees north and about 89 degrees west. So I estimating, right, 14 degrees north and 80-ish degrees west, and I put a little heart there. You can do this in either Google Slides or PowerPoint, by the way. So what you'll do, so for my chosen location, say I would do San Francisco. And I know San Francisco is about 37 degrees north and about 122 degrees west. So once I've figured out where that location is, then I would go up to Shapes, and you can insert whatever shape you like. So say I love lightning, so maybe I'd be like, okay, so I can put lightning over this area. And you can change the color for it if you want to make it kind of pop out a little bit more. Not totally necessary, but it is just a possibility. So the point of this is to visualize where these places are on a map, right? Because you'd be like, oh yeah, Alaska, it's totally fine. But you know, Alaska's huge, right? So what part of Alaska are we thinking about? What part of Africa are we looking at? What part of Australia? So this will help you give a visualization on, are they close to the ocean? Are they landlocked? You know, what's kind of the jam there? So that's the first part. And then once you've visualized that, then I want you to make some hypotheses. Which locations do you think will have the warmest average temperatures and why, and the coolest average temperatures and why? And also, which locations do you think would have the largest annual range and shortest annual range and why? So hypothesize first before we make any other graphs. And then what you're going to do is use this website called weatherbase.com, and you'll be able to search every location that I ask for. And it gives you what the temperatures are for each month. So how I would set this up would be to get a blank sheet going, and in the first row, I would put your locations. So I'm just kind of winging this off the top of my head. So I know that there's a South Africa one location, there's Minnesota, there's Alaska, there's a region in China, Japan, etc. And then on the next couple, in the first column, you can put the months. So what's cool is you can literally just type January and click enter, and then click on that cell. I guess I should zoom in a little bit so you can see. And you can, once your cursor turns into a little plus sign in the bottom right corner, you can just guide it down and it automatically fills in the months for you. It's actually pretty sweet. And then we'll go to Weatherbase here just to kind of give you a visual. So say I'm looking for my selected location is Tucson, Arizona. So I'm going to click return. And there's a couple of different things you can choose from. It doesn't really matter which one you choose. And then this is what you got, right? So it shows us the average temperature for the overall annual average plus each month's average. So then you would go back into your spreadsheet. I know that South Africa is not correct there, but 51.5, 54.6, 54.6. And then I'm just going to BS some values here just to kind of fill it in. 60, 63, 70, 80, 110, because it does get so hot in Tucson. September 70, October 70, and 70 and 75. No, we'll do 56. So you'll complete this analysis for all 10 locations. So you'll have a very full spreadsheet. And then another part of the analysis that I want you to do is to calculate the average of each location. So to do that, I would create a separate row and call it average. And then you're also going to calculate the range. And then so I would just do a separate row of range, right? So for average, all you have to do in an empty cell is click or type in equals average. See how it's already trying to kind of fill in for me? Open parentheses, and then you can select the values that you want to calculate average, close parentheses, and then click return. Suggested autofill, no, because we don't want that autofill. And then what you can do, which is pretty cool, is you can, once again, your cursor will turn into a little plus sign in the bottom right corner, and you can just click and drag all the way over for each location. Obviously, it says there's an error there because there's not values in these columns currently, but it's the same thing that you could do. Then to calculate the range, at least as far as my knowledge of spreadsheets is concerned, there's not an actual function that you can put in. But what you can do simply is just kind of visualize, see which number is the largest and see which number is the smallest, and then you can tell the spreadsheet to calculate that for you simply by typing equals, say July, minus sign, January, return, and it calculates that range for you. This one you can't just click and drag over because it's likely that your locations are going to have different months with the highest and the lowest temperature. So use caution there. So then once all of that is completed, then you'll select all locations and all months, and you will create a graph from it. It's going to look kind of busy. Your finished product should look something along these lines, right? With a good title and good axes titles and stuff. But you can see how the temperatures vary from location to location. So it's just a nice way to create that visual there. So once you've completed all of that, then there's just some simple questions to answer. And then the last part here is to just write a paragraph, summarizing all of the things that we know about temperature variation, and were some of your hypotheses broken? Was it oh my gosh, wow, that place that was right next to the equator actually doesn't have the highest temperature? That's crazy, or something like that. And it should be at least one good cohesive paragraph long. Okay, so that's what I want you to do for that. I would take the time that we were supposed to have in class completing this, just that way you can just get it done and over with and turned in, and then you don't have to worry about it. Because I do want to discuss it in class as a group on Thursday. Okay? So thanks so much for watching, and have a lovely rest of your evening or day or whatever time of day you're watching this.